6 months later with the DJI Action 3 and the GoPro Hero 11, which one should you go out and buy? The results will surprise you. Now, if you think about an action camera, the main brand that comes to anyone's mind is GoPro. These have been ruling the action camera world for a number of years now. Anyone who wants an action camera, go and get a GoPro. That is what majority of people still do to this time. However, over the last few years, GoPro have been getting a bit of a reputation of software related issues, overheating. Is that still a problem now with the latest GoPro Hero 11? So I've been testing both this and the current DJI action camera, the DJI Action 3. DJI have been making action cameras now for a number of years, starting with the Osmo Action and the Osmo Action 2, and now the Action 3, which looks really similar to the GoPro Hero 11 in size and features, but which one actually is better? So firstly, I'm going to talk about some of the actual video quality. This is the main reason why people want to get an action camera, for actually being able to use these in situations or locations you don't want to use your phone. So video quality wise, both are good. Now when this was released, this has the advantage, it had 10-bit quality, which means you're going to get better video quality, more details, and it's going to enable you to edit your footage without destroying it as much. Whereas DJI Action 3, when that was released, it was just limited to 8-bit. This though has had a firmware update recently, which means this also now has 10-bit, so they are both the exact same. So in terms of actual spec, video quality wise, they're both going to be pretty much identical. So let's just look at some clips now, and I've been testing these over the last few months and I wanted to show you now and just see if you can tell any difference. So these clips now on the screen are both going to be on the DJI Action 3 and the GoPro Hero 11 on a mount, so you can see if you can tell any difference whatsoever. So if you look at these side-by-side shots, we can see that both are extremely very good quality. Both are winners in terms of the colors and details. I think both of them perform really well. So in terms of action cameras, these are like the top of the pack in the small action camera world. But what you want to look at here is, can you tell a significant difference in the quality? So the GoPro shoots at 5.3K up to 60 FPS, whereas the Action 3 maxes out at 4K 120 FPS. So these shots now, the GoPro is filming in 5K at 24 frames per second, and the Action 3 is filming at 4K in 24 frames per second. Now, both of these action cameras have a really small sensor. So in terms of 4K, 5K, when you've got a sensor this small in an action camera, really you're not going to tell hardly any difference. So let me know in the comments down below, can you tell any difference in these shots? Now stabilization is obviously really important, both are excellent. The Action 3 has also been updated, it's now got Rocksteady Plus, which does crop in, but it gives this really super stable video. But as you can see, as I'm walking now in this awesome location just near Mount Tady in Tenerife, you can see both are excellent in terms of stabilization, so you've got nothing to worry about. Now in daytime, the colors look nice and vibrant on both of them. These are both being filmed now in 10-bit. Can you tell any difference? So the first few clips, you didn't have any notification about which one I was filming on. Now I've got it on, so can you see a significant difference in both? I'll be honest with you, I cannot really. You see, in terms of actual video quality, neither are bad. We're going to come on to the next stage about the overall usability, and this is where one of them takes a huge lead. But when you're going to pick up one of these for just getting video quality, you're not going to be disappointed with either of them. The Action 3 also maxes out at 130 megabits per second, while the GoPro is limited to 120, so a slight advantage there to the Action 3. But in low light, this is where the Action 3 is going to be better. Now, neither are going to be great. It's because of these small sensors. Again, on these action cameras, you're not going to have these as a dedicated low light action camera. Most will never actually film in low light because any action camera isn't really very good at low light. However, you can see in this shot now, this time-lapse sunset, the Action 3 video just look a bit better. So you can see here now the GoPro has a little bit more noise in these shots than the Action 3. So the Action 3 definitely performs better in low light. Now for vertical video is very important now for people posting on TikTok and Reels. Now the GoPro uses an unusual 8:7 aspect ratio, so you can stretch this so you can actually shoot in its traditional 4:3 or 16:9 horizontal, or you can crop in and it then will render a vertical video. Whereas the Action 3, this has a dedicated vertical mode because basically all you do is just flip it onto the side and you've got a mount on the bottom of the Action 3 so you can shoot in dedicated vertical video. It just clamps on like this now, and now we can get vertical video. So it's a lot better. It means you don't have to then go and do any cropping like you do on the GoPro. You can just film traditionally in vertical video, or you can then take it off and then film it directly back into horizontal. So a lot easier. And you notice what I did there with this clamp system. This is going to be a huge advantage, which we'll get into in a second. Now, somewhere where you might want to not take your phone or your camera is the water. So action cameras for water, for in the sea, are excellent. It means you can actually get these type of video shots. You don't want to risk your expensive phone. Now, both of these have a hydrophobic lens cover on the front of the lens here, which means when you're actually in water, it should minimize some of those water droplets staying on the actual camera. Now, again, both are excellent, and I want to do this as a test in more of an extreme example. So what better than to take these in the hotel's pool party, which actually that day was a foam party. So you can see here now, both action cameras are mounted on the same mount during a foam party. So not ideal situations, loads of like soap and everything all over these action cameras, but you can see both of them performs really well. And do let me know again which one you think's got the edge here. So you can see there from the video comparisons that both shoot really good video. Neither are bad for sure. The GoPro, they've been working on this for a number of years now, and I've really nailed the colors. So the colors coming straight out the GoPro are excellent. But I would say for low light video, especially the Action 3 is better, but both are winners. But however, this is where one of these now takes a significant lead, because it's all right having really good video quality, but you need the actual experience of the user to be just as good. See, the GoPro over the last few years has been renowned with these software related issues. You just type in GoPro overheating and you will see hundreds of results of people complaining about the GoPro overheating. We have such a small body camera here. With 5K it's going to get hot. Have they done anything to rectify this over the last few years? Not really. And you see, this is where it's going to be a massive downside. You see, with an action camera, you are filming footage. You don't want to risk your phone. So generally, this might be footage which is more risky, more daring. You could be jumping out of a plane. You could be at a foam party. You could just be walking. But if you lose that footage because it's overheating, then what is the point in even an action camera to start with? And unfortunately, I have to say that over the last 6 months, I have lost footage on the GoPro Hero 11 because these same overheating issues still are here. The Action 3 will just not overheat. I cannot find a way to get this to overheat in real world usage when it's same side by side in the same locations. This GoPro has shut down due to overheating, whereas this has carried on. It's like they told that person in the office in charge of overheating, you will not go home until you figure this overheating issue out. And they succeeded. The overheating performance on the Action 3 is remarkable. And then we talked about the convenience factor, how easy it is to use these to not miss a shot. So the GoPro connects to different mounts with these feet on the bottom. So it's been like this for a number of years, never changed. So if you want to attach to something, you just line it up on probably one of the 1,000 GoPro accessories you've got, attach the screw into the side, and now it is ready to go. And it's nice and secure in place. Now that's not a hardship. It means you've got to do that every single time you want to attach it to a different mounting system. Whereas the Action 3 has magnets on the bottom. So you literally just attach this and that is now in place, and this will not budge. It has 2 clips on the top and you have to release both of those pins to then be able to free it, which means if you've got all of these different mounting options, you could have one, say, on your backpack, you could have like a selfie stick like this, you could have a car mount, and you can just go from each one of these really smoothly without having to unscrew it every single time. This just makes the ease of use with this so much better. The magnetic system on here is a game changer. It also comes with this protective case as well. This then gives it a bit more protection, but it also then allows you to then shoot and change between vertical mode. So I've now got it mounted here, and then just by doing that and then pushing it back onto horizontal mode, easy as that, I've now switched between 2 different viewing options. And then I can then change it up again, and I can put it into any other of my different GoPro or Action 3 mounts, and then it's then lined up, ready to go again. So this whole swapping system onto different accessories I may have is much more convenient. And where the Action 3 again pulls ahead is that both of these have front screens, but the Action 3 is actually a touch screen. So I can go onto here and I can look and go through the different menus and change the settings on the fly just from that front screen. Whereas the GoPro You can't do anything. It's just a screen to look at. And talking of the screens, when you're outside in bright conditions, you want to be able to see these screens clearly. And the screen on the Action 3 is a lot brighter and much more easier to see, especially the front screen as well. In really bright conditions, it can be quite hard at times to see the actual GoPro screen. Now, in terms of battery life, both are really similar. The Action 3 has a slightly bigger battery, but in real world use, they're both going to be pretty much the same. However, the Action 3 has a few advantages. You can use this in colder temperatures, so you can use the Action 3 up to -20, whereas you can only use the GoPro up to -10. And also in terms of actually charging it, you can get an 80% charge in just 18 minutes on the DJI Action 3, whereas on the Hero 11, this will take up to 2 hours. However, when you're not using either of these and they're just sat in your bag waiting to be filmed, the drain on the GoPro is mental. So there's so many times I've come to shoot on this and the battery's been like 10% and I've literally charged it the day before, whereas it doesn't hardly drain whatsoever on the Action 3, and that is ridiculously annoying. And you see, with all these little advantages that the Action 3 has got, the price of the GoPro Hero 11 is still significantly more. You see, the GoPro Hero 11 will cost you $549, and that's going to give you one extra battery and some accessories. Now, you can get it cheaper if you get the GoPro subscription, and this drops it then to $449, but that subscription is $49.99 every year. They're just going to hope that you don't cancel that subscription. Whereas the Action 3, you can actually get this in a bundle for $399, the Adventure combo. This gives you some accessories, also gives you 2 extra batteries, and it comes in this nice charging case. So I think for the price, the GoPro is significantly more, and annoyingly they haven't addressed the issues in relation to overheating and the performance, shutting down, missing shots. Things like this, which could be solved with a firmware update, still hasn't come. So is the price difference worth it for you? I don't think so. I think from looking at the video quality, both are pretty much matched, but the GoPro has less advantages in the real world, whereas the Action 3 pulls ahead in nearly every single one of these tests. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? If you want to go out and check out either the GoPro Hero 11 or the DJI Action 3, I'll link them both in the description. These are like the best 2 action cameras, but if I could only pick one, I would say go and get the DJI Action 3. And hopefully when we do see the new version of the GoPro Hero 12, they will start to address and acknowledge that these problems exist and get them fixed. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about these different action cameras. Which one is your favorite? Which one would you pick up? What would you like to see on any new versions or any firmware updates? It'd be really interesting to hear your thoughts. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, it really does help out. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.